everyone, welcome back to rawsynergytv. I often get questions about how to stay raw. A lot of questions sound a lot like this. I keep relapsing into cooked food, eating things I don't really want to eat, and then feel terrible afterward. How can I stay raw and fight off the cooked food desires? So I'm going to share with you today 8 tips that are going to help to keep you from relapsing into cooked food. First of all, when you're starting off in the very beginning, it's so important to have a reason or many reasons why you're changing your diet and switching to raw food. If you don't have a reason why, it's going to be very difficult when you're faced with certain situations to stay raw, because there's no reason in your mind for your body, your mind, your heart, your soul to stay on the path. The more reasons you have to eat raw food, the more reasons you'll have to stay the course and continue on your path of eating raw food. It can be anything from having a healthier body, healthier teeth, more energy, more stamina, a better immune system where you're not getting sick all the time, weight loss, better digestion, a clearer mind, better memory, better recall, clear skin, and prevention of degenerative diseases, or any diseases for that matter. My reasons for starting a raw food diet were mainly for digestion and clear skin. I had no idea the host of other benefits that I'd receive from eating a raw food diet, but once I started seeing the benefits and started experiencing such huge changes in my life, it was a building block. I kept having more and more reasons why to stay with it versus eating something else. And then I realized if I were to eat cooked food or eat anything that wasn't part of this lifestyle, that all of those health benefits would go away, and I'd be back with having digestive problems, back with having horrible skin, back with having headaches and migraines, back with all the other problems that I used to have that I no longer have, like getting colds and flus regularly. So it's really important to start at least with one reason why you're doing raw food, and make it a really important reason, so that when you're tempted with eating something that you shouldn't, you'll remember that's the reason why you're here, why you're doing this, and hopefully it will help you to make better food choices. Then as you continue on your path and you continue to see more and more results, you'll add more reasons why to your list, and cooked food will continue to be less and less appetizing because you'll have so many benefits from not eating it. So before you reach for unhealthy food, remember your reason why. It's so important to make sure that you have plenty of ripe fruit on hand at all times. And make sure that you have fruit waiting in the wings, ripening, so that when you're done with your ripe fruit that you're eating now, the fruit that you have waiting for you to ripen will be ready. When I shop, I like to make sure I have plenty of food on hand. I like to buy bananas in all different stages of ripeness, from super ripe to super green. And that way, as the days go by, I'll always have ripe bananas. And that's been really helpful for me to be able to get enough calories throughout the day and to always have plenty of food on hand. I'll also buy maybe 2 or 3 cases of champagne mangoes or regular mangoes. I'll get several watermelons at a time so that I can have those for maybe breakfast. And then I'll have other fruit on hand. Like right now I have lots of peaches and nectarines on hand. And I'm still getting some pretty good cherimoya, so I have some of those right now. And I always like to get what's available locally to get the best fresh tasting, most delicious fruit available at the time. I buy loads of cucumbers and red bell peppers, grapes when they're in season, figs, blueberries, whatever I can get my hands on, so that I have plenty of food in the house at all times, so that I never get hungry and look around and not have some sort of delicious food that I can fill up on and make a meal out of. Because if you don't have enough ripe fruit on hand, you're easily going to turn to cooked food and foods that aren't healthy. When I go somewhere and I know I'm going to be gone all day long, I always make sure that I take at least 2 prepared meals with me on the go, as well as snacks, so that I'm never without my food. Because when you're out away from home and you don't have access to good fruit, it's so easy to eat whatever is available, and typically what's available is not that healthy, and it's usually not raw. So if I'm going to be gone for lunch and dinner, I will always take lunch and dinner with me as well as snacks, because I understand how important it is to be prepared. When people first start this diet, so many of them have no clue how much food they're eating. They usually undereat by a great degree. That's why logging your food into Chronometer or NutriDiary or some type of food calorie counting program is so helpful, because it allows you to see exactly what you're eating. And I'm a really big proponent of actually weighing your food, especially in the very beginning, because you can take a small banana and think it's a large banana, and you're actually getting way less calories in that small banana that you think is large, and your calorie count is going to be completely different. And I had this issue as well in the very beginning, because I didn't weigh my food. I just guessed at what size fruit I thought I was eating and input it into Chronometer, and I thought I was getting way more calories than I really was, even when I knew about calories and how important they were. So it takes some discipline in the very beginning. You really want to know how many calories you're eating, because if you're under eating, you're going to be hungry all the time, and that's going to create cravings for you, and then that leads to eating cooked foods and things that are unhealthy. The only time I ever really get any sort of cravings at all is if I haven't eaten enough throughout the day and I'm really hungry, usually towards the end of the day, more like dinner time. However, my whys are so important and so strong that they prevent me from ever wanting to eat any sort of cooked food or any sort of junk food. So you really want to make sure that you're eating enough at every meal. When you sit down to have a meal, you want to make sure that you're fully satiated at the end of the meal, meaning you really can't take in another bite. And that should really hold you over for at least several hours until your next meal. So eat enough food. Eat until you're fully satisfied, and make sure you're eating enough calories to fuel your body, to fuel your daily exercise activities, and anything else that you're doing throughout the day. It's so important to experiment with different low-fat, raw vegan recipes that mimic your favorite foods that you used to eat when you ate cooked food. This is one thing that really helped me in the very beginning. I grew up in an Italian family, and we used to eat pasta a lot. So when I was craving any sort of Italian dish during my transition into raw food, the raw zucchini pasta with marinara sauce was such a savior for me, because it was so savory and so delicious. It really helped my taste buds when I really needed something really yummy like that. Same thing with like a raw taco. I used to make raw tacos or wraps, and that just helped me so much, because two of my favorite food types were Italian and Mexican. And so being able to eat like the salsa, a really good tomato salsa or mango salsa with like romaine chips and cucumber chips was so helpful. It just tasted so good and just made transitioning so much easier. So whenever I was craving certain foods, those foods were so great and taking my mind off of cooked food completely. So I highly recommend, whatever your favorite food dishes are, there's pretty much a low-fat, raw vegan recipe out there somewhere. If you do your search online, you'll be able to find something that's similar that will really satisfy your taste buds. Writing about your success and struggles can be really helpful in keeping you on track. It can help you to see things from a completely different perspective and have a much clearer view of where you're at, inside and out, with your emotions, with your everyday activities, with your food. It just makes a huge difference. One of my most favorite books of all time, I have to get it, is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This book, wow, is so powerful for anyone. You don't have to feel like you're an artist in any way, but this book opens your eyes to so much about yourself, about your life, about your inner creativity. Artists, painters, writers, poets, actors, dancers, you name it. This has been a huge inspiration to so many people who have some sort of talent like that. But even if you don't have like a specific talent, this book is amazing for just opening you up in so many ways, helping you to learn more about yourself. One of the things that she incorporates with this book as part of an everyday activity is journaling, writing. She calls it doing your pages every day, where you just sit down and write for 20 minutes every day without stopping. And you do like 3 full pages. It doesn't even matter what you write. It doesn't even matter if you write blah, blah, blah. You just write whatever's on your mind, whatever's bothering you, whatever you're excited about. You write, whatever you have to do during the day. It's helped me in so many ways. It's something that I pretty much do almost every day. I get up and I just journal for 20 minutes every day. I do 3 pages. There are some days when I don't do it, but for the most part I do. And it just helps to just get all your thoughts out of the way, get all your junk cleared out of your head. It helps you to prioritize your life. Writing about your successes and your letdowns with raw food can really be cathartic. It can really help you to just be more clear about where you're going with the diet. It can just get out your frustrations with the diet, issues with dealing with family and friends. I can't recommend it highly enough, and this book is really huge. This book has nothing to do with raw food, but it does help with life, with creativity, with so many things. So just wanted to share that because that can be so helpful. If you blog about your experience, it even takes it kind of to the next level, like in terms of sharing your raw food journey, because now you're putting it out to an audience who may give you feedback, who may share in your struggles and your successes, and you'll get support and just so many other benefits from writing and sharing your experience. Exercise is a key component to health. If you're exercising regularly, on a daily basis, if you can, when you're faced with cooked food temptations, you may be less likely to give in because you've done all this work for your body, getting it in shape and really taking care of it, that you won't want to waste all of that good effort with a bad meal. Exercising regularly really helps to energize and uplift your body. It helps to clear your mind, clear your thoughts. I just find that I feel so much better after working out, and I don't really want to put anything bad in my body. I just want to fuel it with amazing living foods, because that's what nourishes my body so much and what feeds it so perfectly. And putting in cooked food or junk food of any kind would just ruin all the good exercise that I did. Having an exercise routine every day can boost your confidence and help you to feel so much better about yourself, which then helps you to make better choices for your body. If you start slacking in exercise and letting it go, you might be more apt to saying, well, I didn't work out today, I guess I'm just going to take the day off from being healthy and give in to cooked food and junk food. And your confidence level then goes down and everything just sort of snowballs from there. And then you're falling off the wagon. So exercise can be a great way to help keep you eating healthier and feeling healthier. There are so many different forums and raw food groups growing around the country and around the world as raw food becomes more and more popular. I highly recommend joining a forum that feels good to you, that gives you a good vibe and a good feeling, that has uplifting, positive members who are going to encourage you and help you. And when you have struggles or questions, you can post on the forum and have people interact with you and give you their advice and opinions and help and encouragement and support. It really helped me in the very beginning, and I think that it can really help you as well. I'll post a link below for anyone who's interested in checking out my links page on my website for the different raw food forums that I have listed there. It can be a really great way to meet new friends. I actually met my very, very best friend in the whole wide world on a raw food forum, and I am so grateful for being able to connect with like-minded people in that way. So I hope that you'll take advantage of the opportunities that are out there in terms of raw food forums and for all that they have to offer. There are lots of meetup groups for raw food, even if they're more of the high-fat raw food meetups. I often find at my raw food meetups that I go to that even though most of them are more of the high-fat raw food kind of people, they're very open and accepting of my fruity lifestyle. And I even find people who really enjoy eating more simply the way that I do. They don't feel as great eating so many nuts and heavier foods. So you may find some people in your raw food meetup groups that you can connect with and will support you, and you'll have a lot to share in that regard. I know there are also a lot of low-fat raw vegan meetups starting to grow. So if there isn't one near you, maybe you can start your own. There are lots of co-ops sprouting up where people are gathering to get bundles of raw food together at a discount by putting their money in all together and getting wholesale discounts on their raw food, and they're creating beautiful relationships as they gather and connect for their produce each week. It's just so important to have support and be surrounded by like-minded people, because a lot of you don't have support from your family and friends, and so you really need to reach out, even if it's just through the computer on a forum, and connect with other people who are doing exactly what you're doing, and maybe even struggling in the same way that you're struggling, so that you realize that you're not alone. In Dr. Douglas Graham's 80-10-10 book, there are lots of testimonials in there about people who changed their diet to 80-10-10 and their life just transformed. There's so many stories in there. So if you don't have that book, which you should, if you're following this diet, you really need that book. But if you don't have it, you need to get it because the testimonials will help you stay on track because they're so motivating. There's likely a story in there that very much resembles what your life is like. And you'll be so motivated to stay the course if you read how other people have been successful. There's lots of stories here on YouTube about people who have changed their life with raw food, and they share their stories, their weight loss stories, their health stories, their skin stories. And speaking of skin stories, I have some transformation photos of my skin that I'm going to be sharing soon. So keep an eye out for that. It's so easy to get distracted with everyday life, with other people's problems around us. But if we keep our mind focused on the positive, if we stay focused on the testimonials of people who have had success before us, and we create our own success story and be able to share it with others down the line, we can be an inspiration to everyone around us. Just through our actions, we don't have to say or do anything to another person, just by being who we are and following this diet and living a healthy lifestyle and just being a positive, uplifting person. We will inspire others through our actions. I hope these 8 tips help you to stay raw and to stay connected with like-minded individuals so that you can have a great transformation of your own and be able to share an amazing testimonial with all of us in the future. Remember that health is our birthright. We deserve to be healthy, and that includes you. Don't let your inner voice bring you down and tell you that you can't be healthy, that you can't be well, that you can't be beautiful, that you can't be happy, because you can. All of those things are your birthright, and you deserve every ounce of happiness and joy and health, and you can create all of those things in your life right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.